Hey friends, it is time for another reality report. Let's chat about Survivor, House of Villains, and I have some Big Brother stuff to chat about as well. I'm going to go ahead and get the Big Brother stuff out of the way. Number one, I'm going to be posting a lot of Big Brother content on Tuesdays rather than book content. I'll probably just start doing like a monthly wrap up that includes the book stuff. With the preseason of Big Brother starting really soon, I just have some ideas that I really want to get out there in time before it's time to really start ramping everything up. So a lot more Big Brother content coming your way. Hopefully you'll be excited about that. But also, as part of that, Brittany Haynes announced on her Patreon this week that she is starting her BB14 rewatch. Highly recommend that you go and subscribe to her Patreon account. It is one of my favorite Patreon accounts to be subscribed to. And I love when she rewatches one of her own seasons. Last year, leading up to the start of Big Brother, we rewatched Big Brother 12 with her. I had so much fun getting so much inside information from her. She did interviews with some of the different people that had been on that cast with her. We had Reagan, we had Matt, we had Rachel, Brendan. So it was a lot of fun last year for BB12. So I'm very excited for BB14. She said she's working on getting, her guests lined up and different things like that. And she's going to be starting the first episode of recaps next Friday. So I just watched episodes 1 through 3 last night. It was so fun. And yeah, I can't wait to hear what she says about it. You also are able to email her questions. So during her recap, if she doesn't answer a question that you have always had about that set of episodes in season 14, you can always submit questions to her and she comes back and answers them in separate videos. It is just one of the best content things you can pay for. Genuinely, I love it so much if you're a Big Brother fan. So wanted to let everyone know about that. So I will definitely be posting on my TikTok about my Big Brother 14 rewatch and different things like that. So follow there if you want any of those updates. I probably will not be posting those over here. Let's chat about Survivor. I actually really liked this episode of Survivor. I thought we got, for the most part, some really decent content. There are some parts of it that I think we definitely could have gone without and filled it with some other things. I'm going to include a clip at the end here that kind of wraps up that kind of feeling and sentiment that I have. It might end up being 2 clips, I can't remember. But anyways, overall, it was a pretty decent episode. I loved Operation Bad Blood. I loved the beef between Rizzo and Charlie. And honestly, since that decision really all hinged on Camilla, I wasn't sure which way she was going to go. I love Camilla. I love being inside her brain. And I feel like we only got her like cons to working to each of those 2 players in confessionals and like hearing her kind of think through that decision. And I wish we got to hear a little bit more of the pros of working with each of them just to kind of help us better understand how she came to her decision. Not mad at her decision, but I'm just wondering what that looks like going forward. Like, does she actually see a long-term relationship with Rizzo, or was it more so just he was the better out of the 2 options, basically? So I wish we heard a little bit more from her on that. The challenge it's fine. One thing that kind of drives me crazy, I'll be honest, is I feel like there's a lot of Survivor and Big Brother comparison because they're both CBS shows. And a lot of times people knock Big Brother competitions because they're just like fun carnival games, which I definitely agree with. They're really not that serious. And I wouldn't say that they're not physically demanding, because a lot of times we have talked for years about those competitions not being equitable for everyone to be able to win. So there are some like physical demands that come with those. However, what I will say that I appreciate about Big Brother and their competitions over Survivor is, aside from like the brain kind of competitions where it's like a true false or an A/B or whatever, I feel like they do a better job of really like mixing up their competitions. Like, I feel like there are 2 kinds of Survivor challenges. It's either you go into the water, you unlock a bunch of puzzle pieces, and then you go put the puzzle pieces together. Or you jump into the water, you get some freaking bean bags, and you have to toss the bean bags at something. Like, those are the only kind of competitions that we see on Survivor, I feel like. To where on Big Brother, you might be doing a puzzle, you might be doing endurance, you might be doing a maze, you might be doing um solve a mystery, you might be answering questions. Like, there's all these different kind of competitions that we see, even if they are fun, silly, goofy, carnival kind of competitions. I at least kind of will enjoy the competitions a little bit because it's something different to look forward to each week of like, what kind of competition is it? Like, as live feeders, every time after an HOH or veto competition, we are looking for clues from their conversations to see like, what kind of competition did they do? What was the competition like? So that we can kind of put those pieces together to figure out maybe what went wrong where, or what we have to look forward to in the actual episode. Towards like, if there were live feeds on Survivor, you would not be able to tell the difference between any of the competitions because they're all the same. So that's something that like I really, really, really don't care to watch the challenges on Survivor more than any other show that I watch because they're all so repetitive. Anyways, that was a full-on tangent and it's been loading for a couple of weeks, so I do apologize. But this episode overall was really good. I was glad that we are finally starting to pick up the pace, which I kind of said last week. Between like Angelina and Charlie going home, I feel like I didn't really see enough of each of them to really be all that disappointed or care about it all too much. Angelina was kind of at the bottom of the tribe of her first go around. And then after the whole Mike situation, she ended up being at the bottom of this tribe as well. It was kind of like, I feel like we knew this was coming kind of thing. So it wasn't really all that shocking. Like I said, with Charlie and Rizzo, I knew it was going to be one of those two. I just wasn't sure which way Camilla was going to go. And actually, the more shocking part of that vote for me was that Rick and Cirie were not on the same side of that vote. And I find that really interesting. I wish that throughout this time since the tribe swap, we saw more of their relationship because I would really like to see what happened there because on their original tribe, they were working very, very closely together. And I'm just curious to know, like, have they just drifted apart and found stronger connections within this tribe that don't include each other? Are they purposefully, strategically trying to separate themselves so that people don't know they were working together? Was it just like a miscommunication thing? Like, what happened there? I wish we had way more information on the dynamic of that relationship than what we've gotten. And I find it really frustrating because they made it a point to let us know in the first tribe that she was working closely with Rick, Emily, and Christian. And now we don't have any indication at all as to what happened between her and Rick since coming to this new beach. So I find that really frustrating as a viewer and just wanting to understand the dynamics of everyone, especially because in the preview we see that there's going to be a merge. And now I have no idea what that relationship looks like going into a merge and reconnecting with Christian and Emily. So I'm very, very confused there. I have a short that I'm planning on doing later in the day where I'm going to talk about my thoughts on everyone going into the merge. I'll be honest, I feel like a lot of the previews are somewhat misleading, and I am not fully convinced yet that there are truly going to be 17 people going to a merge. I almost feel like whatever this creepy setup that Jeff is giving us, that's going to change the game forever or whatever it was that he said, I almost feel like you have to make it through that event to actually be merged. Like, that's what it's giving to me. I don't know. And so I don't really know if all 17 of these people are going to be there. What if it's some kind of crazy, like, triple elimination night or something like that? What if it's like each tribe has to nominate one person to make fire, and if that person doesn't, whoever makes fire first stays and the other two go? I don't know. I don't know. Um, so we'll see. I'm not fully convinced, but I will treat my video as if it is 17 people that are going to be merged, even though I don't fully buy into that propaganda at this time. So, Survivor 50, it's interesting. I am very excited to see how I'm feeling once we are merged, because I've kind of been up and down on the season. I really don't like the celebrity stuff. A lot of the editing is really kind of getting on my nerves, but overall, as far as like the cast, aside from the honesty and integrity bros, I'm really liking pretty much everyone. There's no one that I absolutely despise aside from Stephanie. So yeah, we'll see how the merge stuff goes, but those are kind of my thoughts going into it and thoughts on this latest episode. Plus, here's some clips in case you don't follow on TikTok of some of my other initial thoughts right after the episode this week. I want to chat about a conversation that was in the exit interviews for season 50 of Survivor, the latest episode. So if you haven't watched that yet, come back because there will be spoilers when you see who's doing the interview. Now, if you watched my video this morning, you know I said I am having a major problem with the way women in the season are being edited, and Angelina is calling production out for exactly this reason in her interview with Dalton Ross with Entertainment Weekly.
I think that it is an absolute, it's an abysmal shame what's happening right now in terms of the lack of female representation on this season. Tiffany has 2 confessionals. We've just finished episode 5. Tiffany's had 2 confessionals. Zach Brown's had 4. Okay. The top 4 of the 5 least edited and shown people, 4 of those are women. And so if you want to know my truth, what I believe, what I see, I think that season 50 feels more like season 15. I do. Honestly, I feel like CBS, I feel like the production is failing the women on this season right now. And I'm not alone in this sentiment. There are a lot of us who are going to be coming out and speaking about this soon. And hopefully, if they're still editing the season, they can turn it around.
And here's the thing. I think from the way I've been hearing certain people that I follow on social media frame things, meaning contestants on the show, that there are some women that make it rather far in the season and we're not seeing anything from them or their gameplay. Without even rewatching the episode, just off the top of my head, I know that I would have rather seen Angelina talking about her feelings with the Mike White blind side rather than listening to Coach give people little names in the Bro Alliance. Or I would rather hear, like I said in my video this morning from Cirie, a little bit on like what was going on with the Rick Devens of it all. Did she leave him, like not give him that information for a certain reason? Or like what happened there? We could have had that instead of Jeff's impersonations at Tribal Council. Like, what are we really doing here? What do you guys think about what Angelina said? Okay, I have to talk about something, and maybe it's a hot take. Let me know what you think in the comments. But there's a narrative that was being pushed by the person that was voted off of Survivor last week and another person this week. And honestly, it's driving me insane. So, spoilers for last night's episode if you haven't watched. Mike and Angelina both in their exit interviews keep talking about how betrayed they are by Christian, or at least Angelina on Mike's behalf. She doesn't personally feel betrayed. She feels betrayed for Mike by Christian. And I am just so confused, if I'm being honest. I know that there was a connection with them in their season. Christian and Mike had a friendship outside of the game as well, like postseason. And then they're coming into this game, and Angelina and Mike apparently think that Christian should just only care about them. But here's the thing. Christian and Emily also have a friendship outside of this game. And honestly, my assumption would be that that friendship is stronger because they are probably in communication more, not necessarily in person, but they're constantly playing like online games together, different things like that. My assumption would be that they talk on a more regular basis than what Christian and Mike talked. So the fact that Mike was pushing for Christian to get rid of Emily, and ultimately he decides to turn on Mike, but they're mad that he did that and they're pulling the friendship card when it was really like you wanted him to betray this other friend. The other friend wasn't asking for him to betray you. You're the one that was trying to give him this ultimatum and it backfired, and that is on you. You could have chosen other people to try and target on that tribe rather than Emily, because if you knew your friend, you would know that he has a connection with her outside of this game. And it's not even just like a pre-game kind of alliance. It's not like the Zoom call situation. These people were playing these online games together before they probably even knew that they were cast for season 50. So not only do they have a friendship, but they also have a working game kind of relationship. Why would he not stick with that person? I don't know. People are just annoying me today. Okay, have a great day. I'm gonna go watch House of Villains. Bye. Okay, let's dive into House of Villains. I have to be honest, House of Villains, I feel I'm reaching my like mid-season slump with this show. And Kate winning supervillain back-to-back weeks doesn't help that very much at all. We got left on a cliffhanger about who is going to be the third person that she puts on the hit list. I really don't think it's going to be New York. I would be really shocked if it is New York, just because I don't feel like Kate wants to go down that road. I think that she will still take the easy way, which would be Paul. Which for me will be really frustrating, but hopefully people will choose to separate Tom and Tyson, regardless of which of them wins, the redemption challenge, because I'm sure that Tyson probably has a very good shot at doing so. This was honestly my least favorite battle royale challenge that they've done this year on the show. I don't know. I just feel like it wasn't really all that exciting, honestly. I really did love the little hit list envelope. I wish it would have played out a little bit differently. But it was still fun and exciting because, especially since Kate did win supervillain, so she took herself off the hit list. It was kind of a really, fun journey to go on there. I really did like that twist, though. I think it's a really good twist because these villains are quick to grab something thinking it's going to be an advantage. And then it turned out to be the exact opposite. We finally got Tyson kind of scrambling a little bit when he was the first to grab it and open it, and him kind of shitting his pants to figure out how he was then going to get rid of it. I actually was very shocked that Paul didn't end up opening the envelope after Tom and Tyson talked to him. I really thought that he was just skeptical enough of them to open the envelope just to make sure what they were saying was true and that it wasn't actually some kind of an advantage. And so good on Paul for not, though. Good on Paul for not. I am enjoying seeing Paul try and work with Drita. We see some previews for next week where it looks like Paul is considering jumping back over with Tom and Tyson, which also makes me wonder if I'm correct in thinking that Kate ends up nominating Paul, because why would he want to work with Tom and Tyson if all three of them are if all three of them are on the hit list, obviously one of those people has to go. And so that opens up the other person that's left out of the Tom and Tyson duo. And then if you're the one that's gone, like, working with them isn't going to change that fact. You're still going to leave no matter what this week. So, on top of that, though, since Paul had spent time building connections away from them, it makes me wonder, like, what would be his incentive to then consider working with them if he wasn't kind of like screwed over by one of the other people he was working on building connections with, basically. So I kind of think that that's why I feel that way about Kate and her third nomination being Paul, is because of some of the information that we got in the preview. But really, I wish that Paul would just stick with Drita. I feel like that could be a really strong duo between the two of them, and they're very opposite kind of personalities in a way, but I think that they could still have a good working relationship together if they actually put in the like time and effort to do so. But I'm very, very excited for next week's episode. We get to see Josh and Paul back together again. We get Candy back from last season. And I don't know, I think it's going to be a very, very interesting episode. And yeah, it's so far I feel like this is a better season than honestly both of the other two, but as far as gameplay, if you're someone that likes to watch these shows because of like seeing people's strategy and why they're making certain decisions, this is the season for you. If you're someone that typically likes House of Villains because of the drama and the fighting and stuff, I would say this is probably so far the least dramatic kind of season. We've definitely had some arguments. We've had people yelling at each other, different things like that, but nothing compared to other seasons. Like it wasn't as intense. It was I don't know. I just feel like this is a very much gamer season, if that makes sense. And for that reason, I am loving it. But I have kind of reached my mid-season like I need something to kind of shake some things up, and I think that's exactly what all of these people coming in next week are going to do. And so I'm very, very excited for it. Okay, so those are my thoughts on everything I watched this week. Honestly, the only thing reality TV related I've been seeing in the headlines is still everything to do with the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives cast. And at this point, I'm sick of hearing about them. I'm sick of talking about them. So we won't have any headlines this week, but hopefully something will come up for us to chat about next week. Let me know down in the comments all of your thoughts on both of these shows, Survivor, House of Villains. Let me know if you're going to rewatch BB14 with me. And of course, I will see you with a new video on Tuesday. We are talking about who deserves a second chance in Big Brother. And I will be back next week with another round of the reality report. So make sure you subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.